By the ANC Lekgotla, which is underway. The Lekgotla is the first after the party's 54th National Congress. The Lekgotla is attended by ANC employees in government, including ministers and their deputies, directors generals and other officials. The aim for the meetings is to compile a plan of action to put in practice the commitments made in the January 8th statement and the party's election manifesto. Our reporter Patricia Visage is there. Let's cross to her live for an update.
Committee meeting which was held over the past 2 days, and today and tomorrow we have the ANC Lekgotla, where we have invited the Alliance, the Mass Democratic Movement and other stakeholders, and today we are presenting what we were actually discussing as the ANC, the election manifesto and January 8th statement, so that we chart the way and we move as a united force to grow South Africa. That's what we are doing today. The discussions have not yet started. We are going to break into commissions in terms of breaking down the election manifesto and ensure that we implement what the President has committed the ANC to do, the ANC government to do in the next 5 years. That's the briefing.
Mr. Makashule, I know that it's all about national issues, but there are lots of international issues or stories, particularly on the continent. The current situation in Zimbabwe and the DRC, we were told that yesterday you convened the meeting of the Peace and Security Cluster in terms of the employees of government to look at the current situation in Zimbabwe and in the DRC. What was the outcome? What is the ANC's position on these two important issues, DRC and Zimbabwe, particularly because this is our own region, the SADC region?
Well, as the ANC, as the movement, international relations is part of our commissions. We are actually discussing the globe. We want to discuss it with the rest of all of us, but the chair of the international relations is here. But international relations is part of our discussions. We are aware of the situation in Zimbabwe, in DRC, and many other parts of the world. We are actually discussing as part of the Lekgotla.
Yes, I agree with the SG, because you asked a very direct question with regard to Zimbabwe. Yes, I'll start with Zimbabwe, because first and foremost, the concerns that you can see of people on the streets in Zimbabwe and all indicate that there are challenges. And as the African National Congress, we have a government which is the Department of Department of International Relations. That department, together with other relevant departments, are engaging, starting from last year sometime in December. They met to look at what needs to be done in assisting the situation in Zimbabwe, because anything that happens in Zimbabwe has a direct impact on South Africa. And therefore, as an ANC, we've got confidence and trust that those discussions that have been ongoing, actually, we believe that those discussions must speed up. Those discussions must assist Zimbabwe to recover. There's an economic problem which needs the assistance of South Africa as quickly as possible. From a political point of view, the ANC, recall that we were invited also to the elections to monitor the elections and all. We do believe that we need to have that parallel process of engaging ZANU-PF as a political party, because that's our fraternal organization. And under what we call former liberation movements, we've also had meetings in there. And we're hoping that the meetings that we're having are going to be much more robust in making sure that we are quick in responding to the challenges. With regard to the DRC, you know that the Constitutional Court has already made a pronouncement on the issue, and from an ANC point of view, we were saying there must be respect for that constitutional decision. And you will recall that also we had meetings with some of the opposition parties who came to South Africa, and we'll continue engaging, because the political engagement as far as finding final solution in the DRC is very, very important. The current president, who's going to be inaugurated obviously very soon, as an ANC, we have indicated that we would like to see a process that is all-inclusive. As to how they deal with that, it cannot be ourselves as the African National Congress to tell them. However, we are aware of the fact that without finding a solution where all political parties feel they can support the current government, there will be problems. And therefore, we're calling on the DRC people overall to respect the decision of the Constitution, but also to say, can there be continuous engagements that will finally make the people of the Congo feel we have a government that really has an interest in as far as the people of the Congo is concerned. And as an ANC, you know that we have relations with political parties. We'll continue to engage. Peace, security, stability, and economic growth for the DRC is what we will continue to support. The other issue is with regard to international community. The international community also has to be assisting us. The international community also has to respect decisions that are taken by SADC, respect decisions that are taken by the AU, and make sure that they are supportive of those processes. Thank you.
I just want to get a quick comment from you. Sorry, acting spokespeople. Just a very quick comment from you. I know when it comes to state capture, you consistently say that it's individuals and the ANC doesn't speak for individuals. However, the one thing you can't deny is that every week, and we're expecting more fireworks, every week it's ANC leaders, not ordinary members, ANC leaders who are found wanting. This morning we woke up to newspaper reports that more ANC leaders will be implicated in testimony coming up in the week. Surely we can't still stand at we don't speak for individuals.
No, firstly we must not run a risk of undermining the integrity of the Commission. I think we must not have processes that are established outside of the Commission and talk about evidence that has not been presented before the Commission. We start talking about lists that have not been presented before the Commission. That in itself undermines the integrity of the Commission. Because if somebody, for whatever reason, were able to find some list that is yet to be presented, it cannot be on the basis that it must then be argued parallel to the process of the Commission. Let's respect the Commission. If there is any evidence that will come before the Commission, let's all wait for that evidence, credible, to come before the Commission. Then the question will arise. The ANC will continue to support the work of the Commission, no doubt about it, because it's us internally, organizationally, that we have realized that there is something wrongdoing that was taking root, both in some institutions and generally, and we thought we must establish this commission. So we will guard the integrity of this commission. If we wake up one Sunday, there is a list that has not been presented to the commission and yet it's in the front pages of papers, it does not mean necessarily all of us, we must then suggest that it comes from the testimony of the commission. No testimony before the commission has been presented as yet that speaks to individuals that are on the front papers of today. We don't have that list. The commission has not been presented with that testimony. All what we appeal for is that let's allow the commission, we must defend its integrity, but equally, regardless of how many names of ANC senior politicians or leaders appear before the commission as they've appeared before, it does not mean they appear on behalf of the ANC. They will appear in their own capacity.
Did you ever visit Visage?
I don't even know where is Visage.
So you never seen Kevin Watson's boss?
You're talking about Zizi?
Yes.
I've never been to the offices of Visage. I've never met with somebody called Agrizi. I've never met with somebody called Watson.
Just one last one for me. The ANC has been specifically mentioned by Agrizi, saying they gave money that was process of money laundering to the ANC. And the ANC has been taking a stance that the ANC itself is not on trial at the commission. Do you think that claim or that stance of the ANC is going to be sustainable? That you are not on trial?
Your question is incomplete. The testimony before the commission is that it was given to an ANC Northwest, and there's a specific name, so don't talk about ANC. And very clear in terms of the commission, in terms of reference. If anybody from Northwest is a former MEC, I don't know, maybe Dakota would know, whether acted on behalf of the ANC, the commission in its term of reference may call whoever relevant to corroborate any information. But as the ANC, whoever is mentioned will not have acted on behalf of the ANC, individually must voluntarily go before the commission, Whether they agree or decline or deny the allegations against them, they must do so. The ANC will not do that on their behalf. There is no allegation against the ANC as an organization, except in the instance that there is certain allegation which has been made against some MEC of Northwest who went to Busasa in terms of the allegation again to ask for money for elections. Whether he did that on the mandate of the organization is for that individual mentioned, and the organization at that instance will go and testify and contradict that evidence before the commission.
As a former provincial secretary of the Northwest of the ANC, are you aware of any of the claims that Mr. Agrezi made regarding the ANC there?
No, thank you very much. You would know a secretary is a chief political administrator responsible for implementing decisions, resolutions, and policy positions of the ANC. The secretary does not deal with assets, donations, income, or revenue that the organization deals with. I think it's a matter that can be established with the Northwest Provincial Trustee for them to check the books whether such a donation ever came from Busasa. But I think, in my understanding, if it was a donation, there can't be anything wrong with a donation that is donated by a private business to a political party, because so far we do not have a law that denies political parties to receive donations from private establishment, unless in a case where there is something unethical or improper that happened in that particular instance. So far, there's nothing from my side in particular, as a former provincial secretary, that I can say related to the books.
Okay, thank you again, CD from News 24. Just a quick one. You know, in the lead up to the new year, whatever, start of the new year, some ANC members who do door-to-door campaigns were concerned about the impact of the State Capture Commission on the ANC name, saying that when they go door-to-door, they have to explain to people state capture. And I remember speaking to Fikile Mbalu, the head of elections, and he said that's part of the bad that the ANC has to take. You know, you must accept that society wants this thing to happen, and we've done bad, and we must account for it. Our leaders in the room here at the ANC Lekgotla are also concerned that they must explain to people what the party's role was in this massive project to loot from the states.
You must understand that pain is an essential part of healing. When we took a decision that we must establish the Commission of Inquiry, particularly on state capture, we knew, among others, that a number of leaders of the ANC, whether former or incumbent, their names will appear one way or another. And therefore, our core narrative has always been that indeed in the past mistakes were committed, and we must self-correct and we must make sure that there are lessons that what was done wrong never repeated. This is where we come from as the African National Congress. This is why we separate the ANC from actions of individuals. So as the African National Congress, our position is very clear. Our volunteers and our leaders as they gather here, this is the brain trust of the ANC. They understand that, of course, we must accept that there were mistakes that were committed by individuals. To some extent, the organization, it does take some, we acknowledge the mistakes that were committed, and we're prepared to self-correct. And we've already seen indications that our words and deed is beginning to be appreciated by the people of South Africa, that we're self-correcting as an organization. So we are not confused. Our deployees, our volunteers, they understand that, of course, we come from that past, and we're correcting that past. This State Capture Commission must help us, among others, to re-establish confidence of our people to public institutions, but secondly, to re-establish trust with the public.
Did former President Zuma receive the alleged amount of 300,000 a month? Do you have any knowledge of this?
I have no knowledge of individuals who received any money.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't think you actually answered my question, I'm sorry. ANC members who do the door-to-door campaign saying that they're concerned that the State Capture Commission is impacting how South Africans receive them. Saying when they go knocking door-to-door, people say to them, state capture is an issue. I hear you saying, oh, they understand that it's a part of cleaning, but they're saying that they're worried about the impact of this thing that's unveiling so much rot in the ANC on the party ahead of the elections.
If you look since the Nazareth conference, the positive optimism and the confidence that people continue to have and the support on the ANC, they are beginning to appreciate that the ANC correctly is correcting itself. So if there are people who may have issues about the African National Congress, correctly is their own organization.
From within the organization? From
within the organization. Okay. So we must continue to explain to our people those difficult situations we find ourselves. The trainers, we train our volunteers on these difficult questions. Some of the difficult questions may not be on the list of questions that we anticipate, but we are prepared to answer difficult questions because we're an organization of the people, including the past period where we come from, which has committed a lot of difficulty, not only to the ANC, but to the public. and we are prepared as the African National Congress. But we are very happy that the enthusiasm we have seen successfully over the last weekend, for example, in Durban, for us does indicate that people continue to have overwhelming confidence to the African National Congress, notwithstanding that there are issues that internally that we still need to do to restore confidence and trust of our people.
Just as an addition on the same matter, the issue related to the Commission of State Capture, it's a product of the ANC. It was the 54th National Conference after the diagnostic report as well as the State of the Organization report was read to all the conference members that we diagnosed that there are problems within the whole state governance in the Republic. And as the ANC, those members and all branches, all structures of the ANC, we took a resolution to mandate the leadership of the ANC in government to establish a commission of inquiry, which was signed off by the former president, which now it's being implemented under the current president. So the establishment of the commission, all members of the ANC, all volunteers, all structures of the ANC needs to know and needs to be loyal to our conference resolution, because the establishment of the commission, it's our product. And all of us, that's why as the ANC, we have said in a number of occasions that we are going to cooperate with the commission of inquiry where members of the ANC have got an information that can assist the commission. They must avail that particular information. Where members of the ANC are implicated in the commission, they have a right of reply to appear also voluntarily before the commission to go and answer for whatever that has been raised against them. So we are not going to be afraid. We are not feeling ashamed, because this is our product and all of us must be loyal to it, no matter how painful it may be or no matter how it may implicate adversely some of our members and leaders. We must be loyal to our decision. It's part of the self-correction, it's part of the renewal, it's part of building a new nation that will take us to a higher trajectory and a new pedestal to a new dawn.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, our editor there, Sophie Mokoena, speaking to leadership and spokespeople from the African National Congress as they continue with the conversations in Irene in Pretoria. Let's take a break.